The difference between a good company and an extraordinary one is not luck. It is the playbook that turns vision into victory. Think about the greatest teams in history. They didn't succeed because they had the best players alone. They succeeded because they had a playbook, a guide, a shared language that turned individual talent into collective excellence. The same is true for companies. Talent, passion, and innovation are powerful, but without a system, they scatter like sparks in the wind. A playbook takes that fire and turns it into a torch that can light the way forward. A playbook is more than a manual. It is the heartbeat of culture, the structure that transforms chaos into clarity. It defines not just what you do, but how you do it, how you lead, how you communicate, how you respond when the pressure is highest. And here's the secret. Extraordinary companies are not built on extraordinary moments. They are built on extraordinary consistency. When a company has a playbook, it doesn't rely on inspiration alone. It doesn't wait for luck or chance. It creates a framework where excellence is repeatable. The onboarding of a new employee, the launch of a new product, the way a customer is treated. Each of these becomes a chapter of the same story. And when every player reads from the same story, greatness becomes inevitable. But here is where the real magic happens. A playbook is not static. It grows, adapts, and evolves with the company. It captures lessons learned from failure and wisdom gained from success. It gives every voice a place and every person a role. It doesn't silence innovation. It multiplies it by giving it structure. A strong playbook doesn't restrain creativity. It channels it toward impact. The power of the playbook is that it transforms good companies into extraordinary ones, not by accident, but by design. It allows leaders to scale vision into action, and it allows teams to turn action into legacy. When a company embraces its playbook, it stops being a collection of individuals working in silos and becomes a movement. One where every decision, every action, and every outcome is aligned with a greater purpose. So the question for every leader, every entrepreneur, every dreamer is simple. Do you want to be remembered as good or extraordinary? Because the answer lies not only in the brilliance of your ideas, but in the discipline of your playbook. Write it, live it, share it, and watch as your company transforms into something greater than you ever imagined. Extraordinary companies are not defined by a single bold idea or a once-in-a lifetime stroke of luck. They are defined by their ability to deliver excellence consistently. Consistency is the invisible force that transforms a spark into a flame and a flame into a legacy. It is not glamorous or dramatic. It is steady, reliable, and deeply powerful. When a company learns how to show up with the same level of quality day after day, year after year, it earns trust, builds loyalty, and sets itself apart in a marketplace filled with noise. The truth is that brilliance without consistency fades quickly. Many organizations start strong with energy, creativity, and momentum, but without a system to repeat success, that energy scatters. Customers may be impressed once, but they rarely stay loyal to inconsistency. Employees may feel inspired at the beginning, but without predictable practices, frustration grows. Consistency is what makes excellence sustainable, and this is where the playbook becomes essential. A playbook creates the framework that ensures everyone knows not only what excellence looks like, but how to achieve it repeatedly. It turns inspiration into process, and process into culture. For example, if a company wants to deliver exceptional customer service, it cannot rely on the natural charm of a few employees. It must document, train, and reinforce the behaviors that define great service so that every interaction across every location reflects the same standard. The customer begins to trust the brand not because of one exceptional experience, but because every experience feels exceptional. That trust is the result of consistency. Consistency also breeds confidence inside the organization. When employees know what is expected, when leaders reinforce values through action, and when success is measured the same way across the board, people feel safe to perform. They don't waste energy guessing or navigating chaos. They focus on delivering. Over time, this reliability becomes a habit, and habit becomes identity. The company is no longer just striving for excellence, it is living it. What makes consistency even more powerful is that it compounds. A company that delivers value every day builds momentum. Customers return, employees stay, reputation strengthens, and opportunities multiply. Competitors may offer something new or flashy, but without consistency, they cannot sustain it. The organization that shows up day after day earns the trust that others cannot buy. In the end, consistency creates resilience. It allows a company to weather storms because the systems and standards remain intact, even when the environment changes. This is why extraordinary companies don't just chase the next big thing. They invest in repeatable excellence. They understand that the true mark of greatness is not one remarkable achievement, but the ability to make remarkable the norm. A consistent company is not just good on its best day, it is great on its average day. That reliability is what transforms it from good to extraordinary, from admired to unforgettable. Consistency is the quiet power that sustains success and writes a company's legacy. A playbook might sound like a set of rigid rules, but in reality, it is the very thing that multiplies creativity and amplifies impact. Great companies understand that brilliance often begins with individuals, an inspired leader, a visionary thinker, or a team with a breakthrough idea. But brilliance that stays trapped in one person's head is fragile. It disappears when that person leaves, burns out, or gets pulled in another direction. A playbook ensures that individual genius becomes collective power, that one great idea can be shared, scaled, and sustained across the entire organization. The strength of a playbook lies in its ability to turn vision into action. A leader might have a bold strategy, but without a shared process, teams can interpret it differently, wasting energy on misalignment. A playbook creates clarity. It outlines not just what needs to be done, but how it should be done. With this alignment, creativity is not lost, it flourishes. Instead of reinventing the basics every time, people have a foundation to build upon, freeing their minds to innovate at higher levels. When the fundamentals are consistent, imagination can stretch further. Think of a sports team. Each player brings unique talent, but without a playbook, the team falls into chaos. The playbook does not diminish their skill, it gives it direction. It allows them to trust one another, to anticipate moves, and to execute strategies that are bigger than any single player. The same is true in business. A playbook lets a marketing team align with a sales team, an operations team align with leadership, and everyone align with the company's mission. It multiplies impact because each part of the organization is moving in rhythm with the others. Another power of the playbook is scalability. Good companies often get stuck because they cannot grow without losing quality. They may succeed in one location, with one team, or under one leader, but as they expand, the cracks begin to show. A playbook solves this by creating replicable excellence. Whether the company opens a new office across the city or across the world, the playbook carries the culture, the standards, and the systems with it. What worked in one place can now be trusted to work everywhere because the knowledge has been captured, refined, and taught. Most importantly, a playbook turns the abstract into the practical. Vision without execution is just a dream, but execution without vision becomes mechanical. The playbook is the bridge between the two. It allows vision to be translated into daily actions that anyone in the company can follow, while also leaving room for creativity to enhance it. It ensures that no matter how large or complex the organization becomes, people are not left guessing. They know the moves, they understand the strategy, and they can play their role in making the company extraordinary. In the end, a playbook does not limit greatness, it magnifies it. It captures what works, shares it widely, and empowers every individual to contribute to something far larger than themselves. This is how companies transform from collections of talent into unstoppable forces of impact. Companies rarely become extraordinary by accident. The leap from good to great is not about luck or even about one brilliant idea. It is about design. Extraordinary organizations are built intentionally through shared values, clear systems, and a culture that aligns people with purpose. The playbook becomes the guiding framework for this transformation. It is the tool that shapes how people think, how teams act, and how the entire organization moves forward. Without it, even the most promising company risks being trapped in the cycle of good enough. Unable to rise above the ordinary, the difference between good and extraordinary is often subtle but deeply significant. A good company delivers a product or service reliably, but an extraordinary company creates an experience that lingers in the minds of customers. A good company may have talented employees, but an extraordinary company aligns that talent toward a unified mission. A good company can perform well in favorable conditions, but an extraordinary company thrives in both stability and disruption because its systems are resilient. This level of transformation does not happen by chance. It comes from a deliberate commitment to align every part of the business around a shared playbook. At the heart of this playbook is culture. Culture is not a slogan on the wall or a speech from leadership. It is the daily rhythm of how people work, treat each other, and pursue goals. When culture is aligned with purpose, employees feel ownership, pride, and meaning in their work. The playbook captures that culture, making it teachable and transferable. New hires can understand what excellence looks like on day one. Veterans can stay connected to the mission without losing sight of the details. Over time, this alignment creates a company where people are not just working for a paycheck, but contributing to something larger than themselves. The playbook also connects people to purpose. Purpose answers the question of why. And when employees understand why their work matters, they go beyond compliance and step into commitment. The playbook reinforces this by showing how daily actions ladder up to bigger goals. A frontline worker can see how their task contributes to customer satisfaction. A manager can see how their leadership shapes culture. A leader can see how their decisions affect the long-term mission. This alignment creates clarity and energy, turning ordinary work into meaningful contribution. Finally, the playbook creates accountability. Extraordinary companies do not rely on vague aspirations. They measure progress and hold themselves to the highest standards. The playbook provides benchmarks and expectations that make success trackable. People know not only what to do, but also how to evaluate their performance. Accountability, when tied to purpose and culture, does not feel like punishment. It feels like empowerment. Employees want to meet the standard because they believe in what the company stands for. When companies embrace this design, they cross the threshold from good to extraordinary. They move beyond temporary wins and become organizations that inspire loyalty, attract talent, and leave a legacy. The playbook is not just a manual. It is the blueprint for greatness, the structure that turns potential into power, and the foundation on which extraordinary companies are built.